Hello and welcome to India Business Hour. I'm Hemant Kumar and here are the headlines that we're tracking this evening. Stocks slide on the Lal Street, mid-caps see a sharp fall. Nifty fails to hold the 25,100 mark. Rupee regains some lost ground but remains closer to the 89 mark against the US dollar. A majority of India Inc. expects the GDP growth to be near 7% this fiscal. A CNBC-TV18 poll among 80% of the top CEOs shows the industry is expecting RBI to ease interest rates further. Top executives also expect the rupee to stay in the range of 88 to 89 against the dollar. That's an exclusive.
We expect to increase our trade with the US on the energy products and liquors to come.
Commerce Minister Piyush Goyal says India wants to increase the purchase of oil and gas from the United States as trade talks resume. Minister Goyal is in the United States for the first time since US imposed 50% tariffs on India, partly as a penalty for buying Russian oil. External Affairs Minister Jaishankar calls on the Global South to renew commitment to multilateralism at a meeting in the United Nations. US President Trump meets Pakistan's Prime Minister Shehbaz Sharif on the sidelines of the UN summit after claiming credit for the ceasefire once again between India and Pakistan. US government could consider scrapping the current lottery system for H-1B visas. HCL Tech's Roshni Nader and many others say that the IT executives do not see any major impact due to the visa fee hike. Majority of Indian CEOs expect India and the United States to stick to the proposed timeline and sign a trade deal this year. Social media must be regulated, rules the Karnataka High Court, rejects a petition by Elon Musk's X and upholds the government's powers to take down content. Court says unregulated speech transcends into lawlessness. Walmart-owned PhonePe files draft papers to go public through the confidential route. Plans to raise 12,000 crore rupees according to sources. Existing investors Walmart, Tiger Global and Microsoft likely to sell about 10% equity. Swiggy exits Rapido by selling its 12% stake in Process and Westbridge Capital for nearly 2,400 crore rupees. Swiggy will also transfer Instamart to a wholly owned subsidiary in a slump sale to open up fresh options to raise funds. Union Cabinet approved shipping and maritime projects worth 70,000 crore rupees. This includes financial assistance and a development scheme for shipbuilding worth nearly 45,000 crores. Also clears a maritime development fund worth 25,000 crores. 4 people killed and over 50 injured after protests for statehood in Ladakh turned violent. The BJP office in Leh gets attacked. Activist Sonam Wangchuk calls off his 15-day hunger strike and issues a call for peace. Well, let's begin with the day's trading action. A broad-based fall across the market, with Nifty failing to hold on to the 25,100 mark. Financials and mid-caps tracked the market, while FMCG stocks turned positive for the day. Now, meanwhile, the Indian rupee regained some lost ground against the US dollar. After a sharp rally in early trade, the rupee gave off some gains in late trade to end the day higher by just about 6 paisa. $1 US now costs nearly 89 rupees. 10-year bond prices saw a minor drop and the yields hardened in trade. Well, on to a CNBC-TV18 exclusive now. A majority of India Inc. is expecting GDP growth to be in the range of 6.8 to 7%, which is largely in line with the government's expectations. A CNBC-TV18 poll among top 80 CEOs showed that the industry is expecting the RBI to ease interest rates further. CNBC-TV18 Shireen Bhan was at the industry body CII's National Council meeting in Chennai. We polled the CEOs on several macroeconomic indicators, including the rupee, which majority expect to stay in the range of 88 to 89 against the US dollar.
With the GST boost coming in, the chief economic advisor suggests that growth will be higher, perhaps closer to the upper end of the band that was presented in the economic survey, which was 6.8%. What is your growth expectation for FY26? Ladies and gentlemen, option 1, 6.5%, option 2, 6.8 to 7%, and option 3, more than 7%. Those of you who think that growth is going to be 6.5%, Please raise your hands. Okay, no hands here on 6.5%, between 6.8 and 7%. Okay, quite a few. And those who believe that it is likely to be higher than 7%? Okay, so that's the mood of the House. Just what the Chief Economic Advisor told us, 6.8 to 7%, a little better than the Economic Survey's estimates. That's the mood as far as industry is concerned. The second question, and again, I'd appreciate a vote, a show of hands here. Do you see inflation easing further, and do you expect the RBI to cut interest rates again? Yes or no? Very, very simple. Those who believe the RBI will cut rates, a show of hands, please. So most people in this room do believe that the Reserve Bank is going to cut rates. And the third question to kick things off here, we've seen what's happening as far as the currency volatility is concerned. Do you expect the rupee to end, option number one, in the current band, which is between 88 and 89, to be stronger, which is below 88, or weaker above 89? Those who believe that the rupee is likely to trend in the current band, if you could raise your hands, please. Okay, and those who believe that it's expected to be stronger, that is above 88, just about two hands in the room, and those who expect it to be weaker, that's below 89. So majority expect the rupee to be in the band between 88 and 89. So let's get straight off. Rajiv Mani, I'll come to you to start with. What was your vote, 6.5 to 6.8 or 6.8 to 7%?
No, 6.8 to 7%.
Okay, and you believe the GST is going to help drive that number?
Yeah, I think GST will definitely help. I think firstly, the first quarter GDP growth was also was a very positive surprise, and from what we are seeing with the monsoons and the uptake because of GST on the consumption, just some of the early sentiment that we are seeing. We haven't seen the numbers as yet. I think 6.8 to 7% should be achievable. We are also seeing, if you look at steel, if you look at cement, the broader trend on the construction sector, which contributes a lot, that's very positive. We just saw yesterday mining sector is starting to show very positive growth. So I would say overall, 6.8 to 7% is probably a safe number to go with right now.
Well, Commerce Minister Piyush Goyal said that India expects to increase its trade with the United States in energy products in the years to come. Speaking at the US-India Strategic Partnership Forum in New York, Goyal said that India's energy security goals will have a very high element of US involvement. Meanwhile, External Affairs Minister S. Jaishankar hosted a meeting of Global South nations on the sidelines of the United Nations General Assembly in New York. Speaking at the meeting, Jaishankar called on the Global South to renew commitment to multilateralism at a meeting in the United Nations.
We expect to increase our trade with the US on the energy products in the years to come, and be close friends, natural partners. Our energy security goals will have a very high element of US involvement, which will ensure price stability, which will ensure diversified sources of energy for India, and help us unlock limitless possibilities that the US on various fronts, energy and beyond.
The rights and expectations of developing countries in the international system, which has been so assiduously developed over many, many decades, are today under challenge. In face of such proliferation of concerns and multiplicity of risks, it is natural that the Global South would turn to multilateralism for solutions. Unfortunately, there too we are presented with a very disappointing prospect.
Well, US President Donald Trump has claimed that India and China are the primary funders of the war in Ukraine because of their Russian oil purchases. In his first UN General Assembly speech since 2020, he also hit out at NATO countries, saying that they have not cut enough of their Russian energy imports, and hence they are funding the war against themselves. Trump once again claimed credit for the ceasefire between India and Pakistan. He also had a brief interaction with Pakistan Prime Minister Shehbaz Sharif on the sidelines of the 80th session of the UNGA. Let's listen in to what he had to say about India and China. Well, moving ahead, in an interview with Fox News, President Zelensky said that he believes that India is mostly on Kyiv's side in the war, even though the United States continues to express concern over New Delhi's purchases of Russian oil. He also said that China could pressure Russia to end the war. He added that while China is not party to the war, Beijing has supplied items to Moscow that can be used against Ukraine and continues to purchase Russian energy. More international news. Israeli forces have intensified airstrikes in Gaza City, with ground forces advancing in the city's southern region. Israeli attacks have killed at least 36 Palestinians across the enclave. Gaza's health ministry has warned that patients are facing certain death, as hospitals in the region may have to shut vital departments within a few days' time due to fuel shortage. Well, the Trump administration has announced plans to replace the current H-1B lottery system with a weighted selection process. The Department of Homeland Security has said that the selection will be based on wage level. The notice said that the new process would give heavier weight to applications by employers who pay higher wages. The criteria would apply if annual requests for the visas exceed the statutory limit of 85,000. And well, speaking of H-1B visas, India Inc. expects that there won't be a major impact from the Trump administration's decision. Speaking at the CII town hall, the industry expects the bilateral trade agreement between India and the US to be completed this year, as proposed by both the countries.
What is the expectation on the India-US BTA being done? Those of you who believe that we are going to see the India-US BTA conclude, the expectation, the hope, the assumption was that by fall this year. Those of you who believe that it will be done by fall this year, by November, which was the timeline estimated, do raise your hands. And those who believe that it will perhaps spill over into next year, raise your hands. So those who believe it will be done by this year, the India-US bilateral trade agreement, if you can raise your hands, please. Okay, a fair number. Those who believe that it's likely to slip into the next year, next financial year or next calendar year, well, there's more who believe that it'll probably get done this year. So that's certainly good news.
I'd mentioned this before as well, that we can't let this, never miss a good crisis. And if at all, if you've seen the trend of H-1B visa applications over, let's say, even the last decade, India's the largest proportion, but the number has been coming down.
Yeah.
And a lot of conversations today that you have with your clients, and we're all pretty heavily indexed on the US, is around AI adoption and AI-led deals. This is not just a problem for the industry, it is also a problem for customers, clients, and actually some of the most biggest companies which are hit by this are actually American companies.
Yes.
Well, in a setback for Elon Musk's social media platform X, the Karnataka High Court has dismissed a petition filed by the company against takedown orders issued by the Government of India. Delivering its verdict, the court said that social media cannot be left in a state of anarchic freedom and that every nation regulates it. The court went on to say that unregulated speech transcends into lawlessness and warned that no social media platform is exempt from the law of the land. The court also said that the social media platform follows takedown orders in the United States but refuses to do the same in India. The High Court order sets a precedent with similar cases that are pending before other courts. Now, Walmart-backed PhonePe has set its eyes on going public. The payment aggregator has told CNBC-TV18 that they have filed IPO papers via the confidential route with SEBI, BSE and NSE. Ritu Singh joins us with more details. Ritu, tell us, what are your sources telling you?
Well, Walmart-backed PhonePe has filed draft papers with SEBI for a mega IPO through the confidential pre-filing route. Now, the IPO, of course, has been in the works ever since PhonePe shifted its base from Singapore to India back in December of 2022. It later confirmed its IPO plans in February of this year, and now sources are telling us the company is looking to raise nearly 12,000 crore rupees, that's $1.35 billion, through an offer for sale in this IPO. Now, Walmart, which owns about 84% stake in the company, along with Tiger Global and Microsoft, are the three shareholders that will participate in the OFS, which will involve a combined dilution of around 10% stake. Now, PhonePe launched its digital payment app in 2016, and since then it has expanded into financial services and even consumer tech. It recently received RBI's final nod to operate as an online payment aggregator and remains a clear market leader in UPI payments. But on the numbers front, while losses are narrowing, PhonePe is not profitable yet. For FY25, revenues jumped more than 40% to about 7,100 crore rupees, while net losses came down by 13% to about 1,727 crore rupees. But this is shaping up to be one of the most closely watched listings in India's fintech space, simply because of the company's sheer scale. PhonePe was, remember, last valued at around $12 billion in the private funding round, and reports suggest it could now be eyeing a $15 billion valuation when it hits the public markets.
Right, Ritu, thanks so much for that. Now, shares of AkzoNobel closed with clear cuts after a large block deal that saw around 22 lakh shares worth 765 crore rupees change hands. The number of shares that changed hands amounts to 5% of the outstanding equity. The shares were sold by Imperial Chemical Industries at an average price of 3,359 rupees per share. Nippon India Mutual Fund was the largest buyer. Now, Swiggy has exited Rapido by selling its 12% stake to Process and Westbridge Capital for nearly 2,400 crore rupees. Swiggy will also transfer Instamart to a wholly owned subsidiary in a slump sale to open up fresh options to raise funds. And the NCLT has approved the merger of Piramal Enterprises with its wholly owned subsidiary, Piramal Financial Limited. The National Company Law Tribunal has cleared the merger of Piramal Enterprises with its subsidiary, and that's Piramal Finance. As a part of the merger, Anand Piramal will take over as the chairman of Piramal Finance, while Ajay Piramal remains the chairman of the Piramal Group. And coming up on India Business Hour, the festive season has begun and India's top e-commerce players are not pulling their punches. Welcome back. Now, Cabinet has approved shipping and maritime projects worth nearly 70,000 crore rupees. This includes financial assistance and a development scheme for shipbuilding worth nearly 45,000 crores. The government has also cleared Maritime Development Fund worth 25,000 crores. Abhimanyu Sharma is joining us now with more details. Abhimanyu.
Well, a host of schemes which have been approved by the Union Cabinet, but the biggest approval has been given for the maritime and the shipping sector. Now, the three sub-schemes which are a part of the overall approval within the Union Cabinet aim to improve overall shipping infrastructure, aim to improve shipbuilding capabilities of India, and also want to promote shipbuilding within India. It also wants to promote shipbuilding in lieu of ship breaking, which already takes place at several places, several ports across the country. Now, there would be a 25% financial assistance which would be given to green and hybrid vessels, and a 20% financial assistance which would be given to vessels over rupees 100 crores. Now, this is being initiated to ensure a larger gestation period is easily given to several ship makers who often find it difficult to raise capital and often find it difficult to get these amount of funds allocated to them. So the large gestation period as far as shipbuilding is concerned is going to be covered by means of such schemes. Also, the government aims to support the overall investment of rupees 4.5 lakh crores and 4.5 million GT shipbuilding capacity. It also aims to generate 30 lakh jobs in the period of next 10 years, for which this scheme has been approved. Also, the government wants to ensure that the overall shipping infrastructure and investment within the ecosystem is going to be promoted by means of these three sub-schemes which have been approved.
Right, Abhimanyu, thanks so much for that. Now, Secretary of the Ministry of Steel has said that India's steel consumption is expected to grow by 9 to 10% in the current financial year. Speaking to the CNBC-TV18, he attributed the consumption boost to recent changes in the GST rates. He added that imports from China have reduced. Listen in.
The imports from China have reduced significantly as compared to last year. That may be due to safeguard duty, provisional safeguard duty, which has been imposed by the government. And as DGTR has recommended to continue the safeguard duty, I would presume that domestic steel sector should get reasonable price and should not be affected because of the cheap or substandard imports. Also, there are some anti-dumping investigations going on. That may be due to safeguard duty, provisional safeguard duty, which has been imposed by the government. And as DGTR has recommended to continue the safeguard duty, I would presume that domestic steel sector should get reasonable price and should not be affected because of the cheap or substandard imports. Also, there are some anti-dumping investigations going on, and DGTR has already recommended imposition of anti-dumping duties on two category of products, one from China, one from Vietnam. So all inclusive, that's safeguard duty, anti-dumping duties on after the GTR recommendations and after the process. I would say that domestic steel sector should not be adversely impacted.
Well, the festive season has begun and India's top e-commerce companies are not pulling their punches. Amazon and Flipkart are offering blockbuster discounts and faster deliveries. And from smartphones to fashions, the deals are massive. CNBC-TV18's Meghna Sen and Rachnathan Rajni report that the race is not just to expand reach and boost profitability, but to win over the next wave of online shoppers.
Like every year, India's e-retailers are ramping up the battle for consumers' wallets. Amazon's Great Indian Festival Sale and Flipkart's Big Billion Day Sale, both known for blockbuster discounts, and they both kicked off on the same day. The discounts are big, but what's also new is the promise of faster deliveries this time. And for this, the companies have been increasing their workforce. Now, experts peg this spike in employment between 18 and 20% across verticals of delivery, warehousing, and consumer-facing roles. To support the increased costs from this hiring, e-tailers are betting on attractive discounts to drive volumes. And in this area, electronics and gadgets are once again the top bets. Smartphones like iPhone 15 and Samsung Galaxy S24 Ultra are available at up to 40% off. Laptops and tablets have been discounted by up to 45%. And the savings being offered on home appliances range between 50 and 65%. Apparel and accessories are also seeing some heavy discounts, going all the way up to 80% in some cases. Apart from discounts on label prices, platforms have also expanded their tie-ups with banks to be able to offer bigger cashbacks and more EMI and buy now pay later options. Companies say they want to use the government's GST cuts to maximum effect to bring the customer in.
Is an anticipation of this kind of demand as well. So we're absolutely ready. We have our sellers who have brought in the inventory into all of these warehouses that we have built across the country. We have gotten more delivery stations to reach you faster as well. So we are very confident that we are going to have what you need brought in by our sellers, available in our fulfillment centers to be shipped to you as soon as you want them.
E-tailers are also banking on artificial intelligence-powered tools to help sellers give customers an enhanced shopping experience. For instance, Amazon offers sellers tools that fast-track and streamline inventory and offer quicker analysis of sales patterns and product reviews. For buyers, AI tools include automated recommendations basis past orders and searches, smart carts, and regional language apps. Traditional e-tailers are also trying to adopt the quick commerce model to fulfill orders and expand reach by covering more PIN codes.
Our logistics network, which is eCart, is probably the largest in the country today. We are able to deliver in every single addressable PIN code in the country. And I think the way we have done is it's a technology enabled. So today, even the smaller businesses which are existing in a tier 4 rural area, we our ability to source from them, pick up items from them to make sure that they are available to consumers is very, very high. And there's a very high degree of confidence that we have in our business because of supply chain capability that we have. And I think this is one of the reasons why we continue to make a lot of sellers successful and make sure customer delight exists because of the supply chain capability that we have. And we've continued to invest in it. And I think that's really one of the strong points for Flipkart.
E-tailers all agree on one thing. The Indian e-commerce segment is maturing fast. So the competition to hook and keep the value-conscious and comfort-seeking shopper coming back is a cutthroat one. But the object of the race has also broadened.
E-tailers have now set their eyes on India's next 200 million online shoppers, especially in the festive season, which is traditionally a big revenue earner. For many of these players, it's not just about a one-time revenue boost. It's about accelerating growth, maintaining profitability, and defending market share as they plan their IPOs. With Rajneesh Kumar in Mumbai, in Bengaluru, Meghna Sen.
Well, the Finance Minister has launched the GST Appellate Tribunal in the national capital today. This has come days after the new GST rates kicked in. Speaking at the event, Finance Minister said that this is not just an institutional milestone, but a symbol of how GST has come in the last 8 years. She added that it is also a powerful reminder of the government's determination to continue improving, reforming and adapting GST for the future. And with that, it's a wrap on this edition of India Business Hour. Thank you so much for watching. News and updates will continue right here on CNBC TV 18.